Hello everybody and welcome into the SFA Season 15 Team of the Year Selection Show. We always do this right after the National Championship. Normally we start out with the carousel, but we are in a unique year. We're moving on to NCAA 25. We've already done the coaching carousel, so we're kind of speed running everything. But we're going to start it out with the raffle player ticket. So remember, throughout the season, you can compete in the sportsbook. You can earn coins. You can redeem them for raffle tickets. And then at the end of the season, at this time, we'll spin the wheel. If you win it, then you get an 80 overall player for the next season, an 80 overall freshman. So I already have our raffle tickets all set up here. This is what it looks like. You got Yui with 2, Airborne with 2, Tribe with 9. He is the biggest piece of the pot. Dune with 3, Wind with 1, Crack with 1, Zach with 1, Rick with 1, and Nick with 1. Last year it was dominated by Tulsa, so we'll see if we can get an upset here. If Tribe just wasted 90K for no reason. So here we go, 80 overall player. If you win, I'll DM you a little bit later on tonight after this stream. But right after this, we'll go into Team of the Year selection. If you want to help select it, stick around. But we are here. Let's get it on. Enough free balling it. I have a lot to do tonight. So welcome in, welcome in. A lot of people here. Let's get it going as soon as I press this. And this will be interesting if it ends right here. These are the same color, but they split the pot. But look at almost half the wheel for Tribe. Here we go. Around we go. Here we go. Who gets the 80? It's Dude! Tribe gets screwed. Coach Dune, Boise State will get an 80 overall freshman. Bang! The second biggest piece of the pie. So Coach Tribe gets unlucky here. The Swamp frowning here tonight. So Dune wins it. I'll DM you, buddy, here in a little bit on how it works. But the raffle winner, so thanks for playing, folks. The CC Sportsbook is always a gamble. All right. So let's start doing the Team of the Year now. So here we go. We're back on it. Let me know if you can see the player screen. I'm hoping you can. Got to move this here. So how this kind of works is we're going to go through the season stats for everybody, the season totals, and then we're going to just go through. So if you kind of want to see how it works, you can see the history sheet. But we picked 2 quarterbacks, we picked 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, a full offensive line, 4 D linemen, including tackles and ends, 3 linebackers, including outside and inside, 3 corners, 2 safeties, and a kicker and a punter. So let's see what happens. Only SFA players are eligible. First time I'm looking at this. As always, I'm going to sort by yardage. Chadley Brown, almost 5,000 yards. I think this may break a record. He has more touchdowns than anybody. He only has 4 interceptions, and I think he beats Stequavius Gates because, 1, better stats, but also 2, because he played better live. We gave Gates 2 chances to play well, so I think Chadley Brown deserves number 1. And in the chat, just call out something if you don't agree or if you do agree, but I'm going to give Chadley Brown QB1 this season. Congratulations, Chadley. You got him to the semis, and I will update the history sheet later on tonight. I'm just writing it down on my notebook here. Jay Jettas, you should have watched the Natty when we gave away 16 gifted subs, buddy. You could have gotten one. Next up, Sean Hill, not an SFA player. So now it comes down to Gates or Schmierman, I think. Keely Radix, I don't think quite gets in there. So do you go Gates or Schmierman? I'm leaning Gates just because of the season he's had and the team success they had. Schmierman, 4,000 yards. They made a mediocre bowl game, didn't make a mediocre bowl game, but they lost their bowl game. I don't know, man. Who do you guys got? Do you have Schmierman or Gates? I'm going to go with Gates here. It's a slim for me. I don't think anybody else down here. If we look at the rushing stats, I don't really want to test it. I don't want to crash the game. I mean, Schmierman, I think we're okay. So rushing yards, he had 345. Gates, he had 720. Oh yeah, Gates had 9 rushing touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards. Yeah, we gotta go Stequavius. How did Gates not win the Heisman, man? They must have watched him live. All right, so quarterbacks are in the books. If we can always come back and change something later, obviously. But let's go to the rushing yards. And, I mean, when we look at SFA players, I don't know how you don't shout out the national championship winner. You got Niall Sheathers here. I mean, he averaged 5 a carry. Is this the most touchdowns? Tied for the most touchdowns with Kendall Bradshaw. He leads the country in rushing. I think you got to go with, I mean, he had 5 fumbles, but who else? Trey Inners? I mean, I don't think we're going to give him it. Touchdown-wise, I think here it's Sheathers at 1, and then we decide between Husky and Marty. I think it could be close here because Texas played 2 more games. So I'm going to go Sheathers at 1. And then you got Marty Fellows here, the junior. He won the Walker. He had 15 touchdowns. That's less than Boyle. 1,900 on the ground. Through the air, though, he had 350 and 2. And Husky Boyle, 1,800, 16. And through the air, he had 455 and 2. So a little bit more yards. Team success, you go with Texas. Higher average. Marty has 15. He has 1,900 yards. He has 2 receiving touchdowns. 350. So Boyle beats him in both yardage and scores. But I'm kind of thinking about how they played when I watched them. And Fellows kind of got outshadowed by his quarterback. I don't know if he is the man we thought he was. I mean, yeah, it was a vulture from Morris Stewart, but we didn't see a breakout from Marty. Do you give it to Boyle or do you give it to Fellows? I'm leaning Boyle. But then again, team success also plays a part in Team of the Year. I'm leaning Boyle. Because you got to think about Texas also had way more games, too. And a lot more carries, and Boyle still has more yards. I mean, they did have success. They made a bowl game. They didn't win it. Or did they win it? I don't remember if LA Tech won their bowl. It's been a while. But I'm gonna lean Boyle right now. Alright, so we can always come back if we see something. Boogie Toe, shout out to Boogie. Alright, let's take a look at receiving here. I mean, it's hard to ignore this stat line. I think this is the most obvious thing. Wide receiver 1, Tyreek Asher. This is confirmed, I think, the best season we've ever seen from a receiver. He beat Chet Doge's records, when he set those records in a season where he's out 2 games. So, crazy year. Asher definitely gets number 1. DJ Weber's not an SFA player. And then, oh, baby, you got Shiloh Slutters. Jachrist Bass here as well. Now, remember, this is yardage. So, hold your tits for a second. We've got CeCe Schuster. You've got Manju Movement. Because you've got yards, and then you've got touchdowns. So, like, Slutters has 1,500 yards, but he has 11 touchdowns. Bass has 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns, but you got CeCe Schuster down here. He has 13 with 100 less yards. So how much does a touchdown equate to yardage is kind of the thing we got to think about. And also you think about averages, receptions. Slutters did go over 100. How many guys went over 100? You only got 4 guys over 100 catches. And if we think about touchdowns here, anybody have some crazy numbers? Bryson Warden had 15. He had 1,300 yards, so more than these guys. Wild Goose up here. He had 14 and 1,200. I don't think that makes it. Fisher is not an SFA player. So remember, SFA players only. So Jason Fisher, he's great, but not an SFA guy. So we got to just figure out, I think so we got 3 more spots at wide receiver. One of these guys is getting screwed. You got Schuster getting screwed. You got Moonman getting screwed. Slutters, or you've got Jachrist Bass here. Anybody just crazy drops? Moonman. I think Moonman might get the... I don't know, man. Like, more yards from, like, touchdown here. Another touchdown. It's so hard. We're locking in Slutters at 2. Okay. All right, we're locking in Shiloh at 2. We're thinking just because of the catches is what sets him apart. Okay, I can agree with that. He does have, breaks that triple digits, and Bass right behind him, but less yardage. Okay, so Slutters from UTSA. So now where do we go from here? Because you have 14 here, and then Bryson Warden's right here as well. So this is kind of what we're debating. These guys. So Slutter's already done. Bryson Warden, 96. He had 1,300. Right behind these guys, he had more touchdowns. Like, I think Bryson Warden should get a shout. Probably over both these guys. This is really tough. It's very close. I'm leaning going Bryson Warden at 2 or at 3. I mean, sure, he averaged more a catch, but he had less catches, less touchdowns, a little bit more yards, sure. You also have drops, though, here from Moon. And if you care about drops, he has 4 more than Schuster, 5 more. He has 1 more than Bass, so we have 2 more spots. I'm thinking you get Bryson Warden 3. I think that's the best. I think you go Bryson Warden 3. And then I think it's between Bass, Schuster, and Moonman. Most touchdowns go to Moonman. Most yards goes to Bass. Most receptions go to Bass. But drops goes to Schuster. You guys are thinking CC at 4. Schuster at 4. 1,400 yards. 2 touchdowns. So, less drops. More touchdowns. Makes up kind of that 117-yard difference. Okay. So we're going to go CC Schuster for Buffalo. All right. So we're locking it in for now. So now the hard part here of figuring out is tight ends. How do we figure out tight ends? We kind of just got to scroll till we start seeing SFA players pop up. So Travis Campbell was the Mackey Award winner, not an SFA guy. Fred Hart, not an SFA guy. So I'm just going to scroll. You're going to see some players you know. I'm not looking at them. I'm looking for tight ends here. Looking for tight ends here. So we're just going to keep going for yardage. Because the Roberts guy, it probably values touchdowns a lot more. Still going, no tight ends. Wait, we got one. Oh, that's Kramer, not an SFA guy. Ooh, Luigi. All right, Luigi, our first contestant. He had 800 yards, 6 tutties. That is actually banging. That's really, really good. So Luigi, Todd Honey no longer counts as a tight end. No longer counting as a tight end is Todd Honey. He is not eligible there. He's a wide receiver. All right, we're going to keep going before I mark down Luigi. Greer, non-SFA, non-SFA. Jewel Peppercorn, SFA player. All right, so he has more yards, or sorry, he has more touchdowns than Luigi, but he has less yardage. The yardage is roughly, where is he? Greenberg, he has 874 and 6 tutties and more catches versus Jewel Peppercorn. Who do you have as number 1? Luigi clears? I don't know, man. More touchdowns out of the tight end slot is pretty important. Vladdy Daddy, baby! 755. 4 touchdowns. I don't think that gets him Team of the Year. Anybody else who has, like, insane touchdowns here? Alright, Charbonneau, he has 8. But he has less yardage. You guys are saying Luigi clears? Daddy's Big Pin SFA guy. Alright, I think we're down to the point where yardage kind of takes a hit here. Let's look at touchdowns now, see if there's any crazy tight ends. Just to make sure before we make the decision. Red Hart on the tutties. SFA tight ends, where you at? Anybody above the 8 marker? Hines, non-SFA. Oh, here we go. Corbin Hodges, SFA player. He has 9. That's the most out of any SFA player. But less yardage. He just clears 600 yards. Charbonneau is 8. Peppercorn is 8. You put Peppercorn above him. Are we locking in Peppercorn? You guys all want Luigi here, don't you? So who do we go with? You guys want Luigi at 1, but he has only 6 grabs. You have all these guys with more touchdowns. He has more yardage, though. He only has 1 drop. I know you like Luigi here, Dogwater. We're trying to be unbiased. I'm looking at somebody like Zach or not Coach Prime here. Pep, more yards per catch. That's true. Alright, so I think we're more towards... It's Greenberg or Jewel Peppercorn. You gotta scroll all the way back up to the 8s. Alright, so 7... Peppercorn has 10 less catches, less yards, but he has a higher average and 2 more tutties. Zach thinks Corbin Hodges, just a hair above 600 yards, goes above. Interesting. We got 2 tight end slots. Where do they go? I think the yardage is high enough where Luigi gets 1 spot, but I probably would put Peppercorn above him. For Peppercorn, so there's 1 for Luigi. 0 for Peppercorn. Oh, baby. And then if we go towards Corbin Hodges, Corbin has 2 drops. He has only 13 a catch, though. God, what do we do? What do we do? Alright, I'm gonna put in Peppercorn at 1 and Luigi at 2. Jewel Peppercorn from Wisconsin, and Luigi will get number 2. Congratulations, Cam. You got yourself a Team of the Year guy. So now let's go to the blocking. Now, that might change if we see somebody with ridiculous pancakes here at tight end. Don't pay attention to wide receiver pancakes because they're broken. They don't count. So how it works here on the offensive line, we have 5 spots. We're just going to go with the 5 best offensive linemen. So all we got is pancakes and sacks. So we're going to, if you are high on the list, we name you Team of the Year. You'll go to, ideally, your position of choice. If not, then you'll go to the other side of the line. And then if not, then you'll go wherever's open, right? So first up is Pat Malaholo. 77 pancakes, but 6 sacks. That's not very good. Craig Scotland, 65 pancakes and 3 sacks. Which is better? Is 12 pancakes enough to unseat 3 sacks here for Scotland? And then you also got Benny Keuchel here, the SFA player, 62 and 2. $77 sacks on the national champion, or pancakes. Who else is up here? Lemus Broadway gave up 11. I don't think 11 gets Team of the Year. Brady Couch could be in here. All right, let's settle this 3-headed monster. I think who gets that? One gets, okay. 6 sacks is a lot. But he also has the 77 pancakes. I think you give it to Keuchel here because 3 pancakes does not outlast the sack from Scotland. Better season for Western Kentucky. So Benny Keuchel is your first offensive lineman in, so he gets that left tackle spot. Benny Keuchel from WKU. And that means Craig Scotland will slide in at that right tackle spot. So Craig Scotland. And that is from Arizona, another Team of the Year guy. And then Pat Malaholo will give it to him just because he has so many. He'll go to that left guard spot. So Nebraska still getting their Team of the Year guy. So we have a right guard and center open. Now, obviously, we don't care about the choices here. But Lemus Broadway, I'm going to not put him on here. 11 sacks is just too much for my taste. Much rather put a guy like Brady Couch here, the SFA player from Georgia Tech. Only 4 sacks, 55. I just want to make sure. So Bobby Joe Toot could get that last spot here because he has 54 and 4. But I want to see if there's anybody like Caden Sanker, SFA player here, 53 and 2. All right, so does he trump both of these guys? 2 less sacks and only 1 less pancake. You got Gene Dallas. I think he's eliminated with 5. Giovanni with 52 and 2. So I think you go Sanker is above. So I think Sanker beats out everybody else. And then does Giovanni beat out these guys above him? I think so. We'll see if anybody else has less here. Anybody want to come out with a beautiful 0? Muffy Breastfeeder gave up 6. He's out. Monroe Rosecrans had 6. Yeah, I think that's too flavorful here. Okay, so we're going to go with final is going to be Sanker, and it's going to be Giovanni Vladislav. Is that correct? So Sanker would get the right guard. Yeah, I don't see Madden on here, J. Jettas. He's probably down there. So this is Missouri. And then the center would then be Giovanni Vladislav, the 6'9", 400-pounder. Getting the last spot. Vladislavi, UNLV getting in there. A lot of G5 in here. The other guy with 55, we had Bobby Joe Toot and Brady Couch, but they both had 4 sacks. So 52, 3, I think 2 less sacks trumps 3 pancakes. And then just one last check to make sure nobody down here had a great 0 sack season. Not looking good. Madden Proctor, he'd win 42-1. Not enough there for you, Jay Jettas. RC Apodaca. Alright, so Maurice Davis, non-SFA player. Alright, so that's going to do it there. So our offense looks like this. QB1, Chadley Brown. QB2, Stequavius Gates. RB1, Niall Sheethers. RB2, Husky Boyle. Wide receivers are Asher, Slutters, Warden, and CC Schuster. Tight ends are Peppercorn and Greenberg. And offensive line is Keuchel, Malahalo, Vladislav, Sanker, and Scotland. That's quite the lineup there. Alright. Let's check out defense. This is where it can get kind of hard. So we got 4 D lineman slots. As always, initially you want to sort by sacks. Maxidro Sue, SFA player here, 11.5. Did not lead the country. Mark Jones had a great CFP. He got 28 TFLs, though. I think that is pretty close to guaranteeing him the 1 slot. Other guys here, SFA guys, is Jack's Joker. He had 32 or 34 TFLs, so does 6 more TFLs trump 2 sacks here for an edge rusher? Jackie Knight, SFA player, 30 and 9.5. He'd be below Joker. I think would also be below Sue. You're saying yes to 2 sacks trumps 6 TFLs, or the other way around? Are we putting Jack's Joker first? 81 total tackles versus 63 as well. So I think you put Jack's Joker 1. Okay, yeah, I kind of agree there. Okay. Louisville getting themselves a Team of the Year guy. And then I think, too, you go Maxidro Sue, because you also got that team success. Arkansas State. And then, yeah, we'll just look at these. Anybody crazy here? None for Sue. Jax had none. Jackie Knight had 3 forced fumbles. Alright, so with 3 forced fumbles, he has more TFLs and 2 less sacks. Does that put Jackie Knight above? Oh, we also got welcome Xavier James to the party. He himself doesn't have any fumbles. Josiah Bird checks in. He's less than both, though. But he had a forced and a couple of recoveries here. And other guys here. Orlando Silatonga, 25. No, he's not. He's not going to be in the running. Desi Masood, a lot more TFLs. Less sacks, though. No. Okay, so it looks like our 4 come down to Jax Joker, Sue. Then you have 2 spots for 3 people. You got Jackie Knight, Xavier James, and Josiah Bird here. I think Jackie jumps to 2, in my opinion. He has more TFLs. He has the fumbles. He's on a better team. Just 2 less sacks. Joker, Knight, Sue, Bird. You have Bird over Xavier James? I don't think you can put Bird above Xavier. And we're not going to put Xavier James above Sue. Hold on. Because Jackie Knight and Xavier James are... there's just no forced fumbles here for James. So do you go... I'm kind of thinking that you go... Joker's 1 for sure. I think then you go Knight because of the fumbles. James because of the TFLs. And then you go Sue wrapping it up. I think that's fair. This would be a devilish... And then we got Xavier James at Troy, his second Team of the year. And then Max Idro, he's the sack leader for the SFA players. He has to be on here, so Ark State. All right, nice. Defensive line done. So now it's the hardest one is the linebackers. You kind of got to go a little mix of tackles, TFLs, interceptions, kind of the whole shebang. So let's take a look. Just scroll till we see some tackle leaders. Not a lot of, so no SFA players above 100 tackles. Tyson Coffey had 99. He had 13 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 3 INTs, 8 deflections, 1 fumble. All right, that's a nice start here. Randall Baker's a non-SFA player, buddy. Mike Warren. Billy Gilmore, SFA player, a couple less tackles. He has a lot more TFLs here than Coffey. He has 2 less sacks, 1 less INT. He has less deflections, more forced fumbles. So I'd probably put Gilmore above Coffey right now because of the TFLs, probably. If I'm counting those two. So we continue on here. Percy Lockhart, SFA player, 19 TFL, so he's between Coffey and the other guy. He has 4, which is right in the middle again. He has 2 interceptions, that's on the lower side. 3 deflections, 1 forced fumble, 1 recovery, and he does have a defensive touchdown. Continue on here. Larry Toro, he had 16 TFLs, 2 sacks, 1 interception. I don't think that's going to be good enough. Jakeem Bobo, 11 TFLs, 3 sacks, no interceptions. I don't think that's going to get it done for him. Willis Whopper. Hello, sir. Robbie Carmichael, another Ohio Mania guy. 20 TFLs. That's the second most we've seen. This is the highest sacks. Tied for the highest sacks. He got an interception. He has 3 forced fumbles, 3 recoveries. Okay, does Robbie Carmichael get into the top 3? I think so. I mean, tackles, he's in the mix. He's within 10. He's near the leaders on all of those. Wyatt Germ, the freshman, not enough TFLs. Yeah, no, he's not there. Tyler Smoot, no. Jimmy Don Willie, no, not enough extracurriculars. Andy Clapp, he had 16, 3.5. None of the extracurriculars, though. Sargent, he had 11, he had 4 sacks, 3 interceptions here for Sargent. That's tied for the most we've seen. 6 deflections, 1 and 2, and no defensive touchdown. I think he's a little low, though, on the TFLs here. Ion Peaks and Fifi, I don't think so there. UNC guy. Rock Captain, no, not enough there. Thrash Daniels, no. I just want to go a little bit farther just to make sure, because tackles isn't, you know, the end-all be-all here. Yamaha, no. Okay, I think that's enough. Alright, so I think we have our final ones to look at here. Robbie Carmichael is 1. So we're going to go back through it. 20 TFLs, 4.5 sacks. He got an interception, but he has these 3 fumbles, 3 recoveries, no touchdown. Okay, next up is Percy Lockhart. We have 4 guys in the mix here. So Percy, he has less TFLs, a half sack less. He has 1 more INT. He has same deflections. He has 2 less forced fumbles and recoveries, but he has the defensive touchdown, the only one of the bunch. So I think he's just slightly underneath Robbie Carmichael. Next up in this path, you got Billy Gilmore. He has 22 TFLs, 2 less sacks than the other guys. He has 1 more than both of them, though, in interceptions. Lower on deflections, he doesn't have any recoveries. He does have 2 forced and no touchdown. And then finally, last player, Tyson Coffey. He is tied for most sacks. He has the lowest TFLs of the bunch. He has 3 interceptions, which is the most. He has 8 deflections, which is the most. 1 TFL or 1 forced fumble. Who do you leave out of those 4? Lockhart, Carmichael, Gilmore. You're going to leave Tyson Coffey out. So the 3 interceptions. Coffey, 3B. So we're going to go Lockhart. Is it the defensive touchdown for Lockhart that we're seeing? Because I thought Carmichael... No, I guess you're right. A defensive touchdown. But 3 forced fumbles, 3 recoveries. Yeah, I'm okay with Lockhart at 1. Percy Lockhart, that's Coastal. You got Robbie Carmichael, former Nebraska guy. He's Ohio. And then number 3 is Billy Gilmore over at SDSU. All right, corners is going to be tough because Boggs has to be in the conversation here, even though he's not going to be among the leaders on interceptions. So first up, though, you got Naquan Porch. He has 7 interceptions. He's an SFA guy. He has 19 deflections. He has the fumble and no touchdowns. That's nutty. So, okay. Next up is Hugh Dunnett, SFA player. He has 6. And he has 1 fumble recovery. And he has 3 defensive touchdowns. So, Hugh Dunnett has to be on there, I think. Next up, you got Javi Santana. He has 6 interceptions, 1 sack. How many deflections? He only has 5. No defensive touchdowns, but he does have a block. Devontae Billings, he has 6 interceptions. Eight deflections, no fumbles, no recoveries, and 1 defensive touchdown. So these defensive touchdowns, and now I gotta see where's Boggs, because Boggs is a big man in this. Pablo Smalls, 5 interceptions, 4 deflections, fumble recoveries. He has a defensive touchdown. Bruno Van Peter. These are just the interception leaders that we're sorting by. These guys all have 5. Walgate had 5 here. Alright, let's look at the... Okay, Boggs. He had 2... But he had 3 forced fumbles, 1 recovery. He had a National Player of the Week. I think Boggs has to be on the list, even if we put him at 3. I think Hugh Dunnett is for sure number 1. But I think the eye test, you have to put Boggs at 3. So I think you go Hugh Dunnett. That's Penn State. The 3 defensive touchdowns is ridiculous. And then I think you go... I think you gotta honor Naquan Porch, tied for interception leads amongst the country. And I think you honor Chase Boggs, his ability to play in a big game. I know the stats aren't technically there, but I think that's just what you have to do. Player of the year, you think about the best players this season, Chase Boggs is up there. If you show up on game day, you will get on this list. And now safeties. We need 2 safeties here. There's not really anything to kind of sort by, so it's kind of hard to judge them. So you got Marquise Diamond here, SFA player. He has no TFLs, only 32 tackles, but he has 5 interceptions. He's a forced fumble, fumble recovery, and a defensive touchdown. Drago Crawford also has 5 interceptions. He has more TFLs. He has a sack. A lot more extracurriculars and a defensive touchdown. So Drago Crawford above Diamond here. Let's keep going till we get some more safeties. And this is both free and strong safety, folks. Dylon Sarnecki, SFA player. He only had 2 TFLs, 67 tackles, though, 4 interceptions. He had 14 path deflections, no defensive touchdowns. All right, here you got Derwin Fields-Crook, 4 interceptions. He had not a lot of TFLs here. I mean, I'm sorting by interceptions right now. It's not necessarily the best. Malcolm Cope, 5 TFLs. He has 1.5 sacks, 4 interceptions. Well-known SFA player here. Don't know if that gets him on the list. So we continue on. Alright, so you got Curtis Bird, SFA player. I don't think he's done enough. Jay Jones, not an SFA player. Alright, where are we now on interceptions? We're on 4. Once we get past 4, then we'll sort by something else. Look for more. Alright. So let's sort by TFLs here. See if there's any safeties. Making plays. Run defense guys. A lot of linemen here. Rightfully so. Any safeties making splashes? 20 plus. Not seeing any pop up. This might not have been the best way to sort, but we'll attempt it here. Can we get 1 safety to pop up here? We're at 18. Come on. I'm like the old people at the slots, just pounding. Where is a safety? Nowhere in sight. We're down to 16 TFLs. Really, no safeties getting this much? I mean, I guess not. I feel like we always see safeties getting TFLs on game day. Jeez Louise. Alright, I guess there's no run defense, guys. Here we go. Got a safety now. Travis Wade, non-SFA player. Alright, we might be getting in the neighborhood of some absolute dogs. Aaron Brown was a beast, but not SFA. Another free safety here. I missed one. Aaron Brown. Another one up here. Farther, farther, farther. No way I missed one. Oh, Dan Johnson, non-SFA player. Keep it going. Alright, this is where we were. There we are. Duke Archbishop III. I think he deserves Team of the Year here. He has 11 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 3 interceptions. That's one less than the guys we were considering. He does have fumble forced. Duke Archbishop making his case right here. Wolf Shitten, SFA player. He has 11. He has more sacks. He has an interception as well. So 2 less, though, than Duke. 4 pass breakups. He has less and no touchdown. So right now I have Duke Archbishop 1. What did Calais Ingram do? Not enough. Boogie Shamar, SFA player. Hello. Not enough, though, to get corner. I mean, I think I'm gonna call it there. I think we're gonna do Duke Archbishop III, and I think we're gonna do let's see. I'm just gonna go player. So Duke Archbishop, he's on Florida. I think he's obviously number 1 here. 11 TFLs here, 3 interceptions. And then the only other player I saw that was impressive was Drago Crawford over here. He had less tackles. He had 6 TFLs, 1 sack, but he had 5 INTs, which is more. He had also had the forced fumbles and the recoveries and a defensive touchdown. So I'm going to go with, I think Drago gets 1. Don't you guys agree? Unless, do you think 2 interceptions and a defensive touchdown is trumped by 5 TFLs and 1.5 sacks? What's better, 2 interceptions and a DT, or a defensive touchdown, or 5 TFLs and 1.5 sacks for a safety? Drago 1. All right, that's what we'll do. Duke Archbishop. There it is. Alright, now kickers and punters here. Let's go back to everything. Not a lot of options here in the SFA. Not a lot of good options either, so we'll see who gets it done. I always like going by field goal percentage first. So, SFA kickers. How many do we even have? Not many. Toto Sucky, he went 17 of 22 along of 55. That's going to be hard to beat. Robin Edmondson, 73% less kicks. Same 55 long. And we'll maybe give this 1 or 2 more chances here. Alright, I'm going to call it Toto Sucky getting it done. Florida, and now for your punter. Who's going to be the punter of the year here? Let's go by average. Thumper Jones, 43.8, and he had 15 inside the 20. He did get 1 blocked, though. Do we have anybody else threatening him? Ted Bonowitz, much worse average. He also had 15. I think it's Thumper Jones. I think Thumper Jones is dominating this category. Thumper Jones, USC. All right, so that's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching. Our team of the year, I will post it shortly. Does anybody have any final gripes before we finalize it? I'm going to put this all into the spreadsheet, and I'll post it for you guys pretty much right away. And so I'm going to get out the VODs for the Natty, the highlights for the Natty. I'll put this up. I'm also going to get all the back-end stuff, and then I'll do the transfer portal stuff as well. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for a great season. Our final year on NCAA 14. It's been a great one. Very rough, but very fun. Congrats, Flame, once again, if you're watching. And congrats to Dune for rolling the raffle player. But peace. We'll see you in the next one.